long time ago, someone told me you always want to set expectations extremely low so you can go high. So I think I'm going to disappoint everybody in this room today. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. When I was 16 years old, someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I said an entrepreneur, because I didn't know how to pronounce the word. Unfortunately, many of my investments did turn into manure, but some of them have also succeeded. I've had the best experience you can have. I grew up in Silicon Valley. My father's one of the co-founders of National Semiconductor. And I saw innovation happen in real time. And when there is innovation, things change very rapidly. Things change for the good, and things change for the bad. Innovation means you have to always be looking forward. And I'll never forget when I was about 18 or so, I'm driving by this, we're actually going to church. So with my parents, we're driving by, we lived in Saratoga, we're going to church in Sunnyvale. We drive by Cupertino. And I go, Dad, who would name their company Apple? What is Apple Computer? What does that do? I mean, literally, this is 1978, 79, right after they were started. Well, little I know, I'd start there in 1980. And when I was hired, actually by a fellow named John Couch, who now runs all their education, he's been there for many years, a wonderful man. He said, I asked him, why did you hire me? He says, you're a naive kid, you don't know anything. You're going to tell me where all this stuff's going to go. And so I've learned that through my whole career. And I think it's so great that we're here at the school, because the average age of the people we fund at Sequoia Capital is about 24, 25. Why? Because they know where the future is. And they know where things are going, and they're willing to put 7 by 24 to go make it happen. I mean, look at, just how many of you guys seen the movie The Social Network? Okay? There's that movie, everyone in this room needs to see that movie. Okay? I'm not plugging Sony Pictures, but they should do their next movie here. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, not to make money, okay? Not to do, well, actually originally it was to get the girlfriend back. But it was because he wanted to connect his friends. He wanted to have people come together. He never did it to make money. And if you look at the founders of Cisco, the founders of Yahoo, the founders of YouTube that John mentioned, and when Chad and Steve came into our offices, they said, we just wanted to make it easier to share videos, because it was too hard to share videos. Well, guess what? All of us here wanted to share videos. Anyways, the reason why I tell you this is entrepreneurship is about passion. And you have to have passion for what you do. And when I see John's passion for the state of Ohio and what can happen here, I just looked at it and I said, John, I have to do this with you. And so I know nothing, or know very little about public policy. I know very little about how all these things are happening. But I've done a lot in a lot of varied businesses, and I'm going to learn as quickly as I can. And I need everybody's help to go do that. And with the help of Christy and many others, she's over there, she'll be the assistant director, by the way, and many others, I'm really looking forward to this challenge. And it is really about working with individuals in all the areas. And one thing that I've got to know over the last several weeks and years working with John is the potential of Ohio is unbelievable. You guys are, as Ohio goes, the country goes. And I really do believe that. From manufacturing, from technology, from health services. I mean, Cleveland Clinic, unbelievable place. Wright-Patterson. John and I did some work down at the Department of Defense. I got a whole bunch of emails from guys there going, Wright-Patterson, we got to talk about this, got to talk about that. There's so many different opportunities. So anyway, I wanted to keep this thing short because I think we're going to do a little Q&A session. But I'm really looking forward to working with everyone. Please send us your suggestions and your ideas. I'm going to get out there as fast as I can to talk to folks. And I'm really looking forward to working with everyone, which I think is one of the great entrepreneurial ventures that I'm going to be involved in is creating this Jobs Ohio to create an environment where hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, can benefit from it. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
We're going to take some questions. So let me tell the students here who we're going to take questions from before we take questions from the press. So I came up with this idea. This shows you how smart Kvamme is. The idea was, if you want to complain about a lousy airplane flight, no one cares. But if we get 10,000 people complaining about an airplane flight, they might care. So I created a company called crowdsmatter.com. I went to Kvamme and I said, Kvamme, what do you think? Stupid idea. So I read last week that Groupon, which is not just but a shot away, I guess as Jagger used to say. That's the first time, by the way, the province, Jagger has ever been quoted in front of the press in Ohio. Think about this. If instead of being involved in social activity with crowds, I had gotten them to buy together, I would have had Groupon, and Groupon sold, I think, last week for $25 billion. Thanks a lot.
All right, questions from any of you?
Questions?
This is actually a projects group, so if any of our students want to share a little bit about your project when you ask your questions, feel free to do that as well.
One of the things that's happened today is...
Well, we're going to go students first. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hello, question. My name is Kvamme. I'm a PhD student and as well as an MBA student. We're working on developing nanotechnology for protecting polymer structures like aircraft blades, aircraft wings, turbine blades, helicopter blades, etc. Now, a big part of our success has been because Ohio has funded our research center. We want to know, are those funds, for instance, Ohio Third Frontier and RIGHT projects, going to be more available? Is that going to change anyway?
Well, I think what we're going to do, and again, we're new to this process, but what I really believe in is effectively deploying capital. I'm in the venture capital business. Okay, companies like Yahoo were created with $750,000. That was told. Cisco was $2.5 million. Why did that work? Okay, that worked because it was effectively deployed in an environment that allowed them to grow significantly. John and I have already talked about advanced materials. We think this area is a phenomenal area for advanced materials. So I don't know about your project, about your specific thing, but advanced materials to me, I think is a place where Ohio can really lead, because with your manufacturing background, what you're doing with the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and the things that are happening in that environment. So that's an area that personally I'm very excited about.
Let me just say a word about that. First of all, you know, people say I got to have government money to start a business. No, you don't need government money. You need a family that has money and friends, okay? Entrepreneurship is the struggle. It's not like, give me a government grant and it'll all be cool, you know? But let me just talk a minute about advanced materials, because this gets to the heart of our longer-term initiative with our universities. Chris and I and Dr. Gee were in a meeting, and I said, look, University of Akron is trying to develop advanced materials. We don't need to have an advanced material program at Ohio State. And Gordon says, oh, but wait. And then he stopped. He said, I get it, okay? So part of the future of higher education is going to be bumper cars, to tell you the truth. Universities running into one another trying to figure out who's going to be the best at what. We don't have the resources to just make everybody happy. The same thing with our healthcare systems. You know, everybody's ego, everybody wants stuff. Can't operate that way. We have a limited number of resources, and frankly, when everybody is trying to do everything, you don't get excellence that way. And we're going to have to figure out who's going to take what, so we can direct people to the right place.
And I think John makes a very good point. The other part is you need more venture capital. And you need to create an environment that is that has that, you know, attracts venture capitalists, and that's something that I'd like to really work on with the governor and the governor-elect and moving forward, because I think a lot of people talk about Silicon Valley. You know, why does Silicon Valley happen? Well, it's become an ecosystem. You have the capital, you have the universities, you have the companies. There's a reason why Mark Zuckerberg moved Facebook from Boston to Palo Alto. Because he had the infrastructure, he had the capital, he had all of those things. And I think there are industries like advanced materials where we can do the same thing here in Ohio.
You know, one other thing, because I don't want the press to get the sense, or Ohio business to get the sense that this is about venture capital and new businesses and, you know, this and that. Because most of the businesses that will be created in Ohio over the period of the next 4 years will be businesses that currently exist that expand. Now, there's a place for venture capital in this, and a place for this exciting new startups and all of that. And we know that small businesses are really the engine of economic growth. But our goal also is going to be get the gas out of the ground if we have it in the Marcellus Shale, work towards advanced manufacturing, figure out how to get more welders welding things. That's why we got the Edison Welding Institute. You know, this is not just about, it's, you know, how do you make more robes, okay? How do we get less to make more robes and move more things here? So it's not just going to be about, we're in an entrepreneurship class where we wanted to announce it because that's Mark's heart, but Mark has also been involved in many industries that are, you know, that are more early 20th or mid 20th century. The key there is to move them into the 21st century with technology, and we can help on that.
My name is Matt Cruz. I'm actually a finance undergrad, a senior here, and I interned at one of the VC firms here in town, and the culture, both from Reservoir, which is a great VC firm here, and then Tech Columbus as part of the Third Frontier is great. But when I was in San Francisco this fall to visit, the big difference is just the culture of risk-taking, the culture of if you fail, it's cool to talk about. We're here, it's a lot different. So I guess I'm curious, like, what are some things, both I guess individually, but also kind of as your Jobs Ohio program can do to change that culture where we want people not to take a secure job, but to go risky? I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, you can't overnight change culture, but without risk, there is no reward. But risk inherently means you're going to fail. In the venture capital business, even though, for example, Sequoia is a very successful venture capital firm, close to 50% of the companies we fund, we do not get our original investment back. And so that's part of it, though. And so what we need to do is provide an environment both for the entrepreneur, and I 100% agree with John, because we also need to create an environment for the larger companies to take risks as well, to feel comfortable to do that. And if we can help in any way to shepherd and anything we can do to help them, we will do that. But that's the one, you hit it right on the head. That's what I've seen that's different in California than especially the Silicon Valley, and almost anywhere in the United States, is that culture. And you know, we got to move very quickly across the whole United States to do that.
You know, and this is a beautiful dovetail with the notion that the state of Ohio can't be afraid to take a risk and fail. Look, my approach, which is why we get people like Kvamme to come out here and many other, is move forward, tell me why we can't, as opposed to, okay, let's talk about this for the next 1,000 years, okay? If Ohio is going to win, we have to take risks. And I'm going to have to face these folks when we have a failure, and I'm going to have to say, we blew that one, okay? But that can't keep me from being willing to take risks for our state and be imaginative and different. Let me tell you, my opinion, there's never been a meeting like this. We've never had anything like this in the state, as long as I have been around. We are changing, we are moving, we are innovating. Pretty cool, isn't it? Maybe we'll even have some internships. Who knows?
I have another question.